British generals in the War of 1812. High Command in the Canadas. Sir George Prevost. Disappointment. In British Generals of the War of 1812, author Wesley B. Turner devotes the first chapter to the enigmatic Lieutenant-General Sir George Prevost. His reason? Quote, Sir George Prevost bore the highest responsibility for the defense and government of British North America throughout the war. End of quote. Turner notes that Prevost appointed the other 4 British generals, Brock, Scaife, Rottenberg, and Drummond, to their positions, replaced 2 of them, and advised them all on both military and civic affairs. As a result, Turner felt it was impossible to evaluate the other 4 officers without reference to Prevost. Turner subtitles his chapter on Prevost, Disappointment. Brock's, by the way, is subtitled Audacity, and notes that attacks on him by both military and civilian critics have dominated the historical record. In Turner's words, quote, his critics claimed he was an excessively cautious and weak-willed military commander, indecisive in the field, and as civil governor, far too conciliatory to francophone politicians. End of quote. But who was this forgotten man? Sir George Prevost was born in New Jersey in 1767, and in 1779 joined the British Army, in which his Swiss-born father, Augustine, was a major general. As a young officer, Prevost served with distinction in combat in the West Indies. Turner notes, quote, Britain's efforts against France in those islands were neither diversionary nor backwater campaigns. The area was a principal theater of war because of the financial, commercial, and strategic importance of the island to both European powers. End of quote. As he rose in rank, Prevost assumed leadership positions in St. Lucia, Dominica, Portsmouth, UK, and finally as Lieutenant Governor of Nova Scotia. So, as war with America loomed, the bilingual Prevost seemed an excellent candidate to command in Canada, but his term ended in apparent failure. But why? What happened? Is this an example of the Peter Principle, the notion that people can be promoted until they reach a level where they are no longer competent? Maybe that's a silly idea, but maybe not. Turner writes, quote, the transformation of a bold officer into a cautious one by promotion to a post of supreme command has precedence in North America. And Turner then goes on to provide a number of British military examples. Turner notes that Prevost would have been steeped in the military doctrine of the 18th century, which, quote, emphasized campaigns of maneuver to occupy territory. A commander was under pressure to preserve his army because of the time involved in training soldiers and the costs of raising and maintaining them. Battles should be avoided or fought only if the commander felt very confident of success. End of quote. Prevost's conservative and conventional tendencies were heightened by knowing he could expect little assistance in terms of both men and material from Britain, then locked in a death struggle with Napoleonic France. As a result, he chose a defensive posture, willing to lose Upper Canada, i.e. Ontario, as long as he could successfully defend the citadel of Quebec, the stronghold of British North America, Prevost believing he could retake any territory lost once Canada could be reinforced from overseas. But Prevost's defensive posture did not sit well with either aggressive subordinates like Brock or the citizens of Upper Canada who wanted the war taken to the Americans. Alas, when Prevost did go on the offensive, during the raid on Sackett's Harbor and at the Battle of Plattsburgh, both engagements ended in disappointment. As this topic is a large one, I will explore Sir George's actions at both battles in separate videos, so stay tuned. In thinking over the travails of Sir George Prevost in Canada, I have wondered if part of the problem might not be the hornet's nest of Quebec, i.e. Lower Canada, politics. Knowing he would need the support of the francophone community in the upcoming war with the USA, Prevost treated them in a conciliatory manner and gave a number of French Catholic politicians government appointments. While this helped to ensure francophone support for the war effort, it made Prevost a number of powerful enemies in the Anglican Anglo community, enemies ready to pounce on any perceived failures. Many of us, or perhaps just me, have had the unpleasant experience of working for a hostile boss or performing before a hostile audience. People just waiting for you to fail. Is that what happened here? Was Prevost so afraid of failure that he ended up failing? Turner himself says, quote, "The key to understanding Prevost's generalship appears to have been an intense anxiety not to fail." End of quote. Nevertheless, successful military action by Prevost-led troops would have silenced his critics, but his perceived failures gave the complaints against him new life. Among Prevost's critics was one prominent francophone, Brevet Major Charles-Michel de Salaberry, the hero of the Battle of Châteauguay. Salaberry felt that Prevost had reneged on a promised promotion and had failed to give him sufficient credit for his leadership at Châteauguay. This was not a one-off. Following the successful raid on Ogdensburg, New York, by troops of the Glengarry Light Infantry under Lieutenant Colonel George MacDonell, February the 21st to 22nd, 1813, Prevost's after-action report gave him some of the credit for MacDonell's successful initiative after having ordered him, quote, "not to attack without previously informing Rottenberg," who was MacDonell's superior, "in Montreal, and only then if the situation offered an easy opportunity to inflict damage on the enemy." End of quote. Many of us have also had the experience of working for bosses who took credit for our work, and it doesn't tend to endear them to our memory. But, as noted, successful military action at both Sackett's Harbor and Plattsburgh would have probably silenced Sir George's critics, so stay tuned for my upcoming videos on those engagements. But what do you think, dear listeners? What do you think were the causes of Sir George's perceived failures? Please share your thoughts in the comments below. And please subscribe, like, and share this video with all those interested in military history and the War of 1812. Till the barrage lifts. Cheers.